Welcome to Value for Money. I'm your host Warba and I'm here to tell you whether or not Krater is worth your money. The game we have here before us is one of those types that doesn't know what it wants to be. At its core, Krater is an RPG, but then they added in this weird RTS-like controlling system for your team. In the end, the concept works, sure, but it also sacrifices a lot of both worlds. The RPG elements never go much further than assigning boosters to your abilities and implants to your character to enhance their stats, while the strategy bit ends after send the squishy ranged guys back and the melee dudes to the front. And while we're on the subject, the game features 4 classes: the Bruiser, who is basically your melee tank, the Slayer, who does melee damage, the Medicus acts as a healer, and the Regulator, who acts as both ranged damage dealer and crowd controller. The controls are something to get used to. You control the 3 characters in your group simultaneously without having a pause button to first assign all your actions and then let the action unwrap like you did in Baldur's Gate, for example. No, here everything is done in real time. But since there is barely any time to think for all of your actions, the game also features only 2 abilities per character, with 1 additional long cooldown gadget for every member of the party. But with that said, after you get a hold of the controls, it actually feels quite nice. Every class has its strengths and weaknesses you have to mind in combat, and the characters' design are also striking, although the RTS view doesn't help with seeing much of that. But let's talk about what RPGs are about. What is our mission in this game? What plot drives this game? We are the inhabitants of the Krater, a part of the post-apocalyptic Sweden after the world-ending event the Untergang occurred. You start out with a band of 3 characters who will get enlisted to do a bunch of stuff, after which they do another bunch of stuff. At some points you can even exchange all your party members for new ones and continue to do a bunch of stuff. If you carefully listen to what I just said, you might come across something. You can exchange every nameless, faceless character in your party for another bunch of nameless, faceless characters. This game doesn't have a protagonist! But not only that, besides not having a main hero, all your characters do is completely random tasks all the locals throw at you. Sometimes some of them are loosely attached to what little plot there is. I will not spoil the ending for you, but oh my god, prepare yourself for a big disappointment once you get there. But besides the horrible excuse for a story, the gameplay is rather solid, if a bit repetitive after the first few hours. Which brings me to my next point: how long is Krater? Well, hard to say really. I played through the campaign in 8 hours, although I skipped a lot of the optional dungeons, so you can add another 2 hours or so to that if you're a completionist. Also, after the campaign is finished, a new dungeon crawling aspect of the game is unlocked, whereby you can try to advance as far as you can to get down the Krater, and unlock new and fascinating items, which practically pads out the game length to however long you want to play, really. So my final verdict is as follows. The price point for Krater is at $14.99 or €13.99. I rate the game mechanics with 3.5 stars. The main features of the game are functional and well implemented, but the camera is one hell of a pain from time to time. Sometimes you are prevented from certain movements just because the camera angle is at the wrong position, and the camera is also locked around your party in the world map. Also, I have to reduce some points because the combat system, while functional, lacks depth and gets samey after a while. As for the story, I ranted about that already long enough. A series of repeated kill quests, many loose plot points, and a disappointing ending. 1 star. Now to something a little bit more enjoyable. Game length with an 8-hour campaign, ongoing dungeon crawler mode, and soon to come co-op capabilities, I rate the game length with 4.5 stars. So after doing all the math, we end up with a final score of 3 stars. The game could have been much better if the developers had put more effort into the story, but aside from that, the game was rather enjoyable. If you want to see more of my stuff, go to youtube.com/warba3. Please leave a comment and rate this video. Your opinion is important to me.